Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. From the deepest jungles to the outmost reaches of space and beyond the veils of death itself, the Bald and Bonkers boys are back for another episode. It's no secret that you won't know what will happen next, but Dakota Franson and Chris Moore promise that all bets are off. Viewer discretion and straitjackets advised. These two idiots live up to the name.
Okay, that was a little weird. I don't think
It was
played
weird,
the
wasn't
intro.
It did on the YouTube side because I watched it on my phone.
Oh. Well, we got Dots in the chat saying no sound.
Really now.
Can you hear us?
Really now, let me mute my mic.
Okay. That should tell you enough right now, Dots, that we're going to have one hell of a conversation.
There's volume in YouTube because I've just heard myself.
It wasn't exactly playing the intro.
No.
But figures.
There's a bit of feedback. It's because we're talking about the show tonight. The corrupt individuals that run this world.
So.
And they're watching us.
Okay, yeah, of course they're watching us. We've obviously made a nice little list somewhere, being the fact that we're talking about this. And, well, first off, let's get started with what happened to one of our lovely guests last week, Danny Henderson.
I heard about that. That's terrible.
It was about to say, I think she's still down.
Is she still down?
I think she's still down. I was recording a thing for Jessic last night with her, and her stuff's still down. She was on.
I know that Dot's there in the MC in the chat. He watches what do you call her quite a lot. Is she down? Is she still down? Because I'm sure she put out a video no long ago.
She tried to, but it was
it
was meant to go premiere. It would be marked as private because she was talking about this very subject, which we should probably get those ladies on as a guest for ourselves to see what happens.
Yes. Look, I'm only going to say this. The amount of corrupt people in this world is just taking the piss. Right? It is taking the piss. The amount of carry-on people have had trying to go and watch that movie is ridiculous. It's happening. I can see maybe one case, maybe a power cut here or maybe a fire alarm going off there, but no, everywhere on the planet, it's simultaneously.
All for only theaters that are showing that one movie. Not necessarily for Guardians of the Galaxy, not for Indiana Jones, just for Sound of Freedom. That's a little suspicious, and everybody trying to say, oh, it's QAnon. Oh, it's a new conspiracy. Oh, this.
Okay.
First off, I'm going to say this. What the fuck is wrong with you people that are trying to say that this is propaganda to get people to microchip their children? That's not.
I know.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
I don't think you should microchip your children anyway. I think this microchip thing's starting to get out of hand, right? It will come eventually, but hopefully it'll not happen for a while, yeah.
I mean,
I can't folk microchip their dogs and cats and stuff, but it's getting a bit
that's
ridiculous.
Exactly the type of chip I'm talking about. I mean, there's certain people who have had chips embedded in their hands. They can pay with their credit cards using them and stuff like that. Kind of cool from a tech perspective, but they're grown-ass adults. They can make that decision on their own.
Can you turn your volume up a wee bit? See on the control panel there, because for some weird reason, you're getting awfully quiet. I can't hear you when you go to talk.
Hold on, let me see something here.
That's better. What did you do there?
I just upped our volume a little bit, a couple notches.
It's weird because at the start of the show it was away down right to nothing.
I know.
And it wasn't there before we started, it was halfway up.
Yeah.
It's that. John
Now,
Morris.
Graham, John Morris is going to write that they just took his 17-year-old son. Hey, it's good. This is a conversation that needs to be had. Because even Hollywood actors are starting to step up and saying enough is enough, which obviously right now with the writer's strike and the fact that CEOs are fully showing their colors in regards to that.
It's that I've noticed it here in the UK, even with the BBC, and I'm going to say it, the BBC, which is notorious for child things. And I've also noticed that with the British papers too, that some of them have actually rated The Sound of Freedom as a fictional movie. Honestly,
now, it's highly based on a true story. Because as an example, Jim Caviezel's portrayal of Tim Ballard kills someone towards the end of the movie. Tim Ballard never actually killed anybody. You know, obviously, it is a movie that was based on a true story. It's an amazing story. They talk about it all the time at law enforcement conferences.
I'm disgusted about how the subject you've brought up tonight, how the CIA shut down an investigation.
Hey, I'm just going to say this. The reason why I wanted to bring up this particular case is for the people still trying to say, oh, no, this stuff does not happen.
Okay.
Guess what? It's happened. And you want to know something else, Christopher? You want to know something else? This does not come from any conspiracy-based website. This does not come from any far left or far right newspaper. No QAnon bullshit. All these labels that people are trying to put on, distracting from the fact that, yes, kids are getting trafficked. Kids are getting raped. And trust me, if this episode is going to bother you, tomorrow, I promise you, is going to disturb the fuck out of some people. And I will mark down everybody who ever stirs up shit because of this episode.
I don't know. I just like to say
information comes from the FBI archives, straight from the source. That in the 1980s, 1990s, the CIA shut down an FBI investigation into child trafficking.
It's just terrible. It's honestly the corruption that's in the world right now is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Governments, this is what people have to get through your thick skulls, and some of you are just idiots, and you are not going to listen to this. It doesn't matter what I say. You all think that everything's magical and the fairies bring everything, but I'm talking to the people out there that don't really watch this, guys. But that's what I'm talking to. The government is notorious. The government are in this. There's top people in this. All those amazing celebrities that you like to watch in your best movies are in this. Where do you think they're making their money for? It's not the movies. The movies are making some money here, there, and everywhere, but they're investing it back into this. And the guy that does The Sound of Freedom knows this, and he's talked about it. He's talked about how the corruption, the sex slaves, everything in Hollywood.
Do you realize he has lost all of his representation?
Yeah, I know. And
every single one of his reps dropped it because he started talking about this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's just not easy to acquire.
It's John Morris there. It says the CIA is a big part of child trafficking and drug trafficking. Exactly. The CIA bring in more drugs into the United States each year than the cartels do.
The CIA integrated themselves within the cartels in order to fund their operations.
Yeah.
JFK, he was trying to warn against it. He was trying to tear apart the CIA because he knew that this shit was starting up.
I'm going to say it. See if I disappear one night. I'm just going to say it out there. JFK, I think JFK was taken out because he said too much, right? Let's face it, I don't think it was Oswald up in the balcony with the gun. Who was the second shooter, you know? I think it's because he was saying too much. So if I disappeared, ladies and gentlemen, one day, you know it was the CIA.
Exactly. Just like with Danny Henderson. Hey, she had her YouTube channel because she had a specific guest on. And who physically names several sitting U.S. presidents as getting involved in sex trafficking of herself and her own daughter.
Yeah.
And go bounce back to Robert Kennedy Jr. He's had interviews get shut down because he talked about his family.
Yeah.
As if he wouldn't fucking know something.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm going to say this to the CIA or whoever's controlling this world right now. Your time is numbered. You're fucked. And I'm sorry I'm swearing here, ladies and gentlemen, because there's some people that watch this that don't like it when I swear. You're fucked. We will get you eventually. We will get you. If it's no me, it's maybe somebody else, but I can tell you something right now. Your time is numbered. Your times are numbered. Look what happened to the Nazis. Oh, we were only doing our jobs. So you, the guy that's controlling all this, and the guy that's sitting at his desk right now watching this, or the woman sitting at her desk right now watching this, you were only doing your job. Just remember that when you're standing in front of a court.
They won't even get that much.
No.
They won't. And it goes back to situations like these. There's a lot of people who try to say, oh, all three-letter organizations are corrupt. Yes, they have corruption within them. The FBI was getting ready to make raids on Biden until he got into office. There's been investigations into Trump. There's been investigations into just about every major political leader. Hey, Chris, did I lose you?
No, it's just for a second you broke up for me. You disappeared for me.
You're frozen right now.
No, it's just because I'm not moving. I'm needing to get something in the background. I'm just sitting. I sit really still. I'm needing to get like a clock with a pendulum in the background to know that I'm still alive. I'm just sitting.
I know you and I both. It's like here. I got my fan going right now, so you kind of tell that's going.
But I'll keep my hand going like that. You know?
I was like, no, you just froze up like that, and it's just like a little more. Normally, I would be able to see if you were breathing, but see, if one of us disappears, you know we hit somebody's nerves.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to say this now: the CIA, the MF, NSA, or whoever runs the world are not going to get rid of us too. They're not going to get rid of us too. Then we're all gone next week. Tumbleweed blood past that. But anyway, it's other people. It's like the guy that's done Sound of Music. No, Sound of Music, sorry, Sound of Freedom. It's like the aim. I know, I was going to say that. The hills are alive. Just ignore me, guys.
The hills are alive. He's out of Scotland, so that can mean like
I know, so just ignore me. But what I'm trying to say here is put me off now. No, if I disappear, right, they're not going to come for folk like us. They're going to go for people that's done like the Sound of Freedom. They're going to come for the people, right? I bet you something happens to him. And I hope to God nothing happens to him, and I hope he's protected, and I hope he's got all the angels running about him, and I hope he's protected, and I hope he's safe. But I bet you, like a lot of actors, like you were telling me before the live, have been coming out about it and then mysteriously just disappearing.
Oh, yeah. There's been comments coming out from Mark Wahlberg saying that there's several Hollywood actors that are getting kind of sick and tired of the situation. Granted, it's also the writer's strike going on that's a big player in all that. But why the fuck are they waiting until
we can
something
see you,
like
Drew.
this stirs up?
Yeah. It's just, honestly, I just don't know. I just really do wonder what's going on in this world. And it kind of pisses me off. I'm friends with quite a few quite famous people in the old YouTube and that stuff like that, and none of them's mentioned this. Mm-hmm. As you say, yes, it puts them on the radar and stuff like that, and it might destroy their career and stuff like that, but there's a lot more famous people that need to come out and talk about this. There really is, and I admire the actors that've done it. Like that guy, what's his name? That actor out of Ted, what's his name?
Is that the only movie you know him from? Mark Wahlberg.
Aye, well, he's been. Aye, I've seen him in loads of one, but I just remember him because he was so funny in that. But he admire him because he's done it. He's come out, but it just shows you there are all these famous celebrities that say they care for the children and all that. Staying so quiet. If you really cared about the children, you'd be saying something right now. But maybe again, they might be part of it.
No, it goes to show this is one of those cases where silence speaks volumes. This is a subject that bothers a lot of people because they indulge in it. They either indulge in it or they enable it.
Look, I'm going to say this to the new. There will be people watching this that spends like £80 or £90 on a wee tub of cream that size with a wee stupid lid on it. It takes off and then they rub it into the wrinkles and it takes away the wrinkles. That's made from children. You do realise that?
Yeah, that's made from human foreskin.
Yeah, so you're actually basically rubbing a foreskin up and down your head. I can't believe I just said that on live on air.
You're technically not wrong, though.
Look, what's that? Drew's abandoned by he was daydreaming. Sometimes I just go off in one. Sometimes I forget. But it's honestly that cream.
Really
I've seen.
You should really not do it with headphones on because I think he's starting to get the headphone dent in his head.
What do you mean the headphone dent in my head? I've got a perfectly shaped head.
Here, do yourself a favor. Take off your headphones. Angle your head towards your on-air sign so we can see if you're starting to get the dent. No, turn to the side.
No, I've got a lovely shaped head, may I add.
No, there's a lot.
I wear headphones all the time.
There's a lot of people who are getting dents in their head from where their headbands set.
No. See, the trick is that these are quite cheap ones, I'll admit. These were only like 20 quid. But I use like noise cancelling headphones and they were really expensive and they've got memory foam size and they don't damage the side of your head. Depending on what times you use, you know. But never mind that, we're jumping off the subject here. But look, it's so annoying that all these famous people, I mean, let's look at that cream that's meant to make you young, right? The foreskin cream, right? And people are like, oh yes, it's probably they get that from clinics and stuff like that. Really? And that quantity? Where do you think they're getting all this stuff, eh?
Hey, here's the thing that intrigues me about this. We have the ability to 3D print meat.
Oh, I know, I've seen that.
We do. Why aren't we trying now, granted, human organs, they're complex structures. Why aren't we trying to focus the efforts on that tech to make universally accepted organs for organ transplant victims?
Because there's no much money in it.
Exactly. People who actually need it. But no, we're wanting to make hamburgers made from the meat of celebrities.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
Yeah. It's madness. I mean, I've seen the 3D printed meat. It's a load of shit, a load of rubbish. Madness. It's like the bugs, they're eating the bugs and stuff like that. Aye, the Chinese are into that kind of. Mind you, the Chinese ain't. Just look at the bats. But that's a story for another time, Look, you have no idea, guys, how many children disappear each year. There is, if you look it up, you can find the trail of disappeared children. I mean, I know I'm going to mention the country again. I'm going to mention Russia again. You have no idea the amount of labs that Russia has uncovered in Ukraine to do with child trafficking. Do you notice I break up when I start talking about that? And I'm putting it out there that the Russians are actually doing a good thing here.
Yeah, people are going to say, oh, you're promoting Russian propaganda. No, the war is a fucked up situation no matter what.
Of course it is.
And it's not just Russia. There's Argentina. There's several facilities down in South Africa. I've reached to Operation Underground Railroad, the organization that Sound of Freedom was based on. And holy shit, the baby factories in Nigeria.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, do you know what happens to someone who's born with albinism in Africa?
No, but I've got a feeling you've got to tell me.
They're hunted. Because
They're hunted?
They're hunted. They're poached like animals.
What is that condition again?
Albino.
Oh, right. I know. Why? Yeah. Is it because the look out of place? I mean,
here's one. No, I genuinely want to know where this train of thought comes from. Okay, they believe there's somehow the belief that raping albino children will cure them of AIDS, or just flat out drinking their blood will cure them of all these diseases.
Because it's stupidity and it's the madness of the world.
I want to know where the hell this thought process comes from.
Was it Sweden? Where's the bit in the world where a lot of white children disappear? Is it Sweden most? Is it mostly Sweden or is it Norway? Because there's a bit in Europe where a lot of white children really densely disappear and nobody knows why. And I'm wondering if it's maybe to do with organ, or it's maybe the sex slave or something like that.
Sweden is an interesting target because they do have very high-grade medical facilities there. Several world elites have been known to travel to Sweden because, one, they do blood transfusions. Say you were to get, and they pay well. This is actually one of the more humane practices, if you can believe that. Say there's like an 18-year-old college kid looking to make some extra money, they can donate their blood to like a 60-year-old because the telomeres that dictate the blood's age transfer over to the 60-year-old and technically reverse that person's aging. Yeah. It's also been known that in Sweden, their cancer treatments will biopsy samples of a tumor, subject the samples to the various different forms of chemotherapy, see which ones work the best, so that way when they administer the treatments on the actual person, there's the least amount of side effects and the highest recovery rate.
Yeah. But do you think that there's somewhere out there in this world right now that there's loads of kids in a cage, probably?
And think something else.
That's something into your head. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to everybody's watching this.
No, let's take this a step further. In the Sound of Freedom, towards the beginning of the movie, you see this very beautiful woman rounding up all these kids under the guise of a modeling gig. Okay? What you have to realize is that a lot of these women involved in this were likely victims themselves that just managed to survive.
Yeah.
And the things they've had to do to survive, they don't come back from.
See, I heard stuff there. I mean, if you go down the rabbit hole of this stuff, right? If you go down the rabbit hole, the further you go down, the deeper it gets, right? I mean, they're talking about, right, imagine somewhere in the world there's a container ship, and in that container ship there's maybe 500 barrels, and these barrels get body parts of a child in it. Is it $75,000 per barrel? Is that how much they're getting?
Roughly.
Something like that, something stupid like that. Just for, what did they actually do with this again? What did they actually do? Did they make that? What is it? There's that chemical that they make into it. What is that again? What is that?
Adrenochrome is naturally made in the body.
Right. So why do they need?
But you need someone alive. You need someone alive in order to do it.
So why do they need these body parts in barrels then? So what's the purpose of that? That's what I don't get my head around.
Some of them get donated in organ trafficking. There's recipes on the black market for cannibals.
See, that's what I was going to say, right? I was just waiting for you to say.
No, I've fucking seen these. I've seen these things, man. I've seen them. They tell you how to prepare certain parts of the human body. They even go as far as to tell you what wine goes with the what body part.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it makes you wonder.
Adrenochrome is also believed to cause a psychedelic effect too.
But this is what I don't get. What do they want the body parts in the barrels for? Now, what they know, if it's organs have got to be taken out just before the person dies, or kept on they've got to be kept on ice. It's got to be get quick. Some of these ships take like a couple of weeks to get across the oceans, right? So, what is the purpose of this meat? I'm saying here. So, is it for people to eat? Are people in Hollywood eating these people?
Allegedly. I mean, you have the stories of the Queen having bodies, fridges full of blood samples. And Alex, we see you, but this is kind of a more important topic.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll say this, going back to the Finders, with the episode that's named, the case this episode was named after, this was all the cliche. You know, child trafficking, organ harvesting, satanic blood rituals, everything. And there is at least several files readily available on the FBI archive website.
Yeah.
And for some reason, one day, it just stopped. There's ties to speculate that the CIA shut it down. And where this case took place? Washington, D.C.
Do you think Kenneth will come out of this movie? Do you think what I'm going to see here is, do you think, in your opinion, do you think Kenneth has got to come out of this movie? Do you think that the government, hopefully some government out there, will go and try and stop this?
No, I don't.
Do you think if Trump gets back into office, he'll try and stop this?
Trump was trying.
Yeah.
He was trying.
See, a lot of people don't realise, Ted, there's a lot of, and I'm going to say there was a lot of children brought across the Mexican border for slave labour in the United States.
Those children are utilized as sex slaves because the age of consent in Mexico is 12.
Is it?
Yeah.
In the name of God. That's... I just want to say, I'm sick to say that I'm a human right now. I really am. And I hope you're watching this, CIA or whoever these are. Honestly, there's people coming for you. Eventually, you're going to get old, you're going to retire. Let's face it. Eventually, they'll come for you. There'll be a chap at your door one day, and there will be a load of people standing there ready to take you away.
Well, think about this. How many of these individuals who've gone into retirement developed degenerative brain diseases?
Aye. Don't you find that interesting? Aye, that's interesting, that is. I know people, right, that have done worked in really governmental things. And that's what I'm going to say. And they get that problem. And I've heard about this. People that have worked in the CIA, people that have worked in MI6, people that have worked in all these secret kind of organizations. When they retire, about a year later, they start getting really forgetful, and then they don't even care who their wife or whoever they are.
You know, now, granted, I will say this. There's a couple different ways you can go about it. Could there be some sort of treatment plan that helps prevent them from saying too much when they get into retirement? Mm-hmm. Maybe. A lot of basically the time requirements for when the files get declassified, like when the JFK files were supposed to be declassified when Trump in office, the time allotted before those files could be legally declassified was so that everybody who was likely involved in those, this is the official reason,
mm-hmm.
they would either be too old or dead to really care.
What happened with that? What happened with that? With the JFK files, was it never opened? Did Trump no deem it?
He opened as much as he could. Something stopped him.
It makes you wonder if he didn't want to open it because he was trying to use it to his advantage to maybe find out stuff. You get my draft? Because as soon as that's opened, the people that are still alive are going to go and look for them.
Yeah, but again, that's why you're supposed to wait so long, because either if the people are still alive, chances are they're going to be old and mostly brain dead. And when you think about it, the stress of the job could very well cause a wear and tear. It really does. That's why there's a lot of them that highly recommend mental health leave for these cases, because there's burnout. And the second they go to slow down, they go to retire, that's when everything that starts catching up to them, when they don't have that go anymore.
I'm just shocked at this world. I mean, the governments of this world could be doing so much more to help these people, help the children and stuff like that, but they're not. I mean, that president you've got is a complete and utter idiot. I don't know how he's managed to stay in office for so long.
Because he's on the
and
side
he's actually
to push all this.
And he's actually tied in this. He's tied in. I think he's got quite a big part to play with the sex trafficking and what do you call it, from Mexico. What I've heard.
What about him on his recent visit? I believe it was Finland, where he started nibbling on a girl's shoulder.
I seen that. There was another one the other day there. It was actually yesterday, I think it was. And he went up and it was a wee girl. The mother was holding the wee girl, and he started nibbling her ear.
Yeah. Granted, I've seen, grandfathers do that, just with their own grandkids, but that's perfectly innocent. The only complaint kids ever say is that grandpa's scratchy beard. But
this is Joe Biden we're talking about here, one of the most corrupt politicians in history.
Yeah, all these Black Lives Matter people want to praise him so much that you should really look up some of his early speeches.
Yeah, I mean, you just need to look up his son's secrets.
He's fully addressing the prime demographic he's trying to appeal to as the N-word.
Yes, and we just need to look up Hunter Biden's laptop that Trump managed to get a hold of and copy.
Well, that was from the January 6th coup. But you also got to realize there's been several people like that John McAfee who had a full-on raid on his house, bogus charges. Like we mentioned last week, he personally donated several computers to members of Congress. I don't know how the hell that didn't get a red flag right off the bat.
I bet he did it deliberately.
He did it deliberately to personally monitor him, because he was trying to find evidence about why they were targeting him. And he had files. Yeah. He had a fucking tattoo basically saying, "I'm not suicidal."
Yeah.
And the freaking place that he allegedly had a bunch of his files at, they started trying to go ransack the place. Inconveniently, what happened to it? Boom.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, honestly, all we can hope for is a better president gets in. I'm not just saying Trump, because there is other better people out there than Trump. There's Mike Pence. He's quite a good president. He's running as president now too, but I don't know what he'll be like. But hopefully there's big change with this movie. Hopefully it changes. I wish to God that somebody in Hollywood is sitting and they've watched that movie and they're thinking, do you know, I've got all the evidence, all this going on. I could go to the press with this and release it.
But here's the thing.
Honestly.
Just look at the reviews going on for Sound of Freedom right now. They're all trying to say, oh, it's QAnon. Oh, it's QAnon. This movie was put together before QAnon was really a thing.
Yeah, it was made actually. Was it not made 2019 or 2020 or something like that? This movie, it was.
But it was finished up by 2017, 2018 was when they started putting this movie. When they finally start finishing, actually filming this movie. Not a lot of people realize, if you're not a major studio, say like Marvel Studios, a film can take a few years to complete, going from initial writing to distribution. It's a pain in the ass.
So here's a question for you. What's Disney's part in all of this? Because I know that they've been a pain in the ass to people right now. Disney.
Are you just wanting to limit it down to the Sound of Freedom or overall? Because we've gone over this a few times.
Overall, it's quite interesting because a lot of people don't realise this, and it's true. You talked about this last week, and I knew about it, but I actually watched a thing on it, and all the top actors for like Disney have to go up and just randomly walk up to a child.
Yeah, that's part of their
take them away.
That's part of their training. That's part of their training.
I mean, I'm going to say this, guys. I don't know if anybody in the audience here ever watches Disney pictures, Disney cartoons. I can't watch them anymore because you see the amount of symbolism that's in Disney cartoons and stuff that wasn't there before.
Talked about old, I think it was Peter Pan, the original cartoon that came from Disney.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Talking about taking naughty young boys to Pleasure Island.
Yeah. It's actually quite interesting to see this.
Island was named.
This is so weird, right? Because I was actually listening to this guy, and he was talking about conspiracy theories, right? Just listen to this, right? And I'm not going to do it all. Peter Pan, what did he do? Peter Pan, he would go and he would take children to the island, right? And then there was this guy after him. It was after Hook, Captain Hook, was after Peter Pan. What happens if Captain Hook never ever hurt any of the other children, right? What happens if Captain Hook, that is in front of us all the time, was actually the good guy? And he was trying to stop Peter Pan.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he was trying to stop Peter Pan, right, for taking the kids.
You do realize in the original story, Peter Pan is technically a serial killer.
I've never read the book.
No, seriously. The original story, I think, like Brothers Grimm, I don't think it was them off the top of my head, but the original story that the Disney movie was based on. The reason why they were called the Lost Boys was Peter Pan was killing them off when they got too old.
Really?
And that's where the conspiracy comes from. The little fan theory, conspiracy, whatever label you want to use for it. That Captain Hook was one that got away.
And he came back for revenge.
He came back because
he wanted to help.
Survivor's guilt.
See, that's
he couldn't live with the fact that he was the only one that got away, knowing what was going on. So he took matters into his own hands.
Look, I never knew that. That's really interesting.
This is the original story. That's where the whole fan theory comes from. Like, the reason why Captain Hook was so damned and determined for Peter Pan was because he was one of the Lost Boys that got away.
See, I think they do everything in front of us all the time. I think they put everything in plain sight because they know they can get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. What's that, Doc MC? Like the boy who cried wolf. The boy was right. The wolf was always, as always.
Boy who cried wolf. That was also initially meant to tell children, don't lie about something messed up coming up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the second you actually see something happening, nobody's going to believe you, and it may be too late in order to do anything. And he also goes mentioned, Disney equals programming equals conditioning. Yeah. films influence us in a lot more ways than people realize.
Yeah.
Every stimuli we take in throughout our day affects literally how our brains are wired. This has been well known for quite some time. It's been implemented in several MK Ultra programs. Just listening to us ramble on will affect how your brain wires itself.
Oh my god, I'm surprised there's two of them no sections yet. Yeah, I mean,
I'm surprised we've had minimal issues.
I'm amazed that you've not disappeared one night, but that's or I've disappeared. You know what I mean? But I think if they do anything to the guy that did Sound of Freedom, I think it would create a martyr type thing. I honestly think they would.
Here's the
I mean,
thing.
let's only go. Sorry, and I'll tell you that thing.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I was going to say this. How many people are going to praise if something happens to it?
Exactly.
How many people are going to cheer it on?
Wait and see. We talk about a movie. You mentioned a movie a wee bit back there, right? And is it The Lost Boys? That's the vampire movie.
The Lost Boys was also what Peter Pan called the kids.
Yeah, but there was I want to talk. Yeah, you ever seen?
I haven't seen it in a long time.
This is going into Hollywood. This is going into Hollywood and stuff like that. There's there's that actor that was sexually abused. And you know, is it Corey Feldman?
Corey Feldman, wasn't it?
You kind of guy I'm talking about, the guy who ran the comic shop. Come on, guys, dots. MD in the show.
Yeah.
Who's the Corey Feldman? The guy Corey Feldman was the
the one who was talking about being a victim of this child sex trafficking, and he actually had people trying to run him off the road.
He was in the film about the vampires. I think it was called.
It's been forever since I watched it.
Look, he's too young. I'm nearly 42. He's 26 or 27. You were playing your harp when that film came out. That he was sexually abused because I watched the documentary on that Corey Feldman, and he was talking about this, and he was saying that it was one of the directors that taken him to a party. There you go. Drew's Abandoned Paranormal. Yeah, he was the little brother of the guy that owned the comic shop. And the Lost Boys on the vampire movie. You can the vampire movie. And one of the directors had taken me a party, right? And other young ones to the party, and says, "Would you like to go to a special party?" Right? And he says, "Oh, aye, because this is him starting out his career. I would love to go to a special party." And they take him to a special party where he was raped.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a lot of top Hollywood people at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they still are. Doc MC, he was a frog brother, I think, in the film. Aye, it was the when the boy that moved in the film to the Bay or whatever it was called. He went to the comic shop, and the two boys worked in the comic shop because their mum and dad run the comic shop, and they were vampire hunters. He was one of them, and he was talking in that movie. He was raped by a couple. They get taken to a special party, and he says these special parties were ran throughout Hollywood, and still to this day, it still goes on.
Oh yeah. Yeah, River Phoenix, that's another one.
Yes.
Joaquin Phoenix's brother.
Yeah. It's shocking. It's shocking.
Like a couple of examples I gave, to help ruin the childhood shows of some of my generation. Anything created by Dan Snyder with Nickelodeon, meaning like iCarly, Victorious, whatever the new ones are that he has on now. Dan had a thing for blondes.
Oh, yeah.
And he would isolate young girls. And basically, any of the Nickelodeon ones affiliated with these shows who went on to have mental breaks have all said at one point, Dan did it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We just need to look at Jeffrey Epstein's island.
Which ironically Disney Cruises made to stop at.
Was that offloading some fresh blood?
Or loading it on to move on to the next destination.
Maybe that's how they did it.
Because
Maybe
think
they
about
used
it.
cruise ship as covers.
Exactly, because nobody's going to think any of the wiser about some people just walking around with their kid on a Disney cruise.
Here's a question for you. What do you think Michael Jackson's on in Michael Jackson and all of this? What's your opinion of Michael Jackson in this situation? Do you think he knew something? Or do you think he was doing something?
Michael knew something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't think he was doing it, to be purely honest with you. I think he knew something.
A lot of those kids that allegedly came out about Michael Jackson, they showed all the signs of being coached.
Yeah. And then his death. Overdose. Well, supposedly overdosed. I think he knew more, and there's like a lot of other top actors out there that have died mysteriously, that have just passed away really quickly, which is very strange. It kind of happens. I mean, there's been a few really mysterious deaths. Who's that actor? What was his name? He was in the new Star Trek. You can't know who I'm talking about. He played a ghost hunter.
The one that got crushed by his Jeep?
That was mysterious. Because if you watch the thing about it, the vehicle didn't have anything wrong with it when they found the vehicle. But they said it was a switch inside that turned off and it made it roll back, which is, I don't know. It makes you wonder, maybe they went to him and says, listen, can you do this? Can you do that? And he's seen something and he's like, I'm not having this. I'm going to talk about this, and they've killed him.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because he was an up-and-coming actor, him.
It was.
It makes you wonder how many top actors right now know this. They know it all, but they're just too scared to talk. Because they know if they talk, they'll be found dead the next day, or something will happen to them.
They'll be found dead. Their children will be targeted. Their families will be targeted.
It's not just them; it's their families.
Exactly.
I mean, I watch a lot of stuff about like the Illuminati in Hollywood and stuff like this, but the Illuminati's had a lot to play with. The Illuminati's got a lot to do with the child trafficking too. It's not just the CIA. It's all one big knot, and we need to slowly untangle it to find the truth. What's that? Drew's abandoned paranormal. Yeah, you just don't know, Chris. Look,
exactly.
You just don't know. There could be actors out there that you love watching that could be making millions of pounds off of these children. No. I mean, just look at the UK. The way the UK, just bring up the BBC, for instance. Look at the famous case with Jimmy Savile. He was protected by the Queen. The Queen protected him. Right? The Queen protected him until his death. This is what a lot of folk don't like this when I mention it, right? But he ran private parties for Prince Charles, now King Charles.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes you wonder what happened at these private parties. Bill Gates, Jeffrey Epstein Island. Everybody's in that. There's no that many left. I don't think there's that. I think there's in Hollywood. There's maybe about 7 people that are coming out about this, and that's that. The rest of them are all corrupt, or they're too scared to talk about it because their families, they don't really bother about themselves, but their families.
It's a lot like
Well, Faris, you're right.
But when you really think about it, it's a lot like when we were talking with Dan Willis about the 2002 press conference he did with Dr. Greer.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the people involved in these projects, only that many were willing to show their faces, knowing damn well they're putting their lives on the line. And that's just for funky things flying around in the air. Can you imagine how many are going to be even more suppressed, admitting that their bosses like to fondle children?
Yeah.
Or like certain guests that popped up earlier in the chat, feeling like we should make the show all about her.
Yeah. Well, Ken something, I'm very sorry if we've ignored you, whoever you were on Facebook, but Ken something, we've got more important things to talk about rather than you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean,
that's
what's wrong with the world today. There's too many self-centered pricks on the planet.
Yeah.
That think that if they say something, you've got to watch and listen to what everything they say. Yeah, I mean, we're lucky. We're lucky tonight. We've got a lot of good people in the chat. We've got Drew's Abandoned Paranormal. We've got John Morris. We've got Dots. We've got a lot of really, really good subscribers in there. But there is a lot of dicks out there.
There are.
Yeah, and it's like the people that attack some of our guests that we've had on the show. There's some of the people that attack them. They're dicks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm amazed that there's nobody giving us any hate mail tonight. It's usually somebody in the chat talking a pile of utter pish.
But because we've also made it well known that we ain't afraid to call them out. Yeah, I know I've kind of built a reputation for firing off of people, but I'm trying to reserve it for genuine assholes. I promise. Man, I've been a lot better lately.
I have noticed that you've not been a raving lunatic as usual, and I'm only joking.
Well, only in the fun way.
I'm like that. You don't prod them. You're like that.
No.
You know, but look,
I'm
amazed. I'm amazed that we never get any hate mail. I mean, why do we never get any hate mail? Because I think people are just so much pussies out there. And this is the problem with this child trafficking and that.
Well,
at least me and you and Elena and the guys we were doing last week, and that guy's made the Sound of Freedom, and all these people we've got the balls to actually say something, and then there's these people that just don't give a fuck. They're just like, oh, quiet. I'm not saying nothing because I'm not going to get into this.
Exactly. I mean, these people who think that they are above all else, they don't care. They think that all these kids getting trafficked are less than human, and they deserve it.
I know.
And I'll be honest, why do we not get any hate mail? Well, it's because I also exposed the location of a couple of people that tried stirring up shit for us last time, and they weren't very fond of that. So it only took me 5 minutes to track down their home address. I know all the tricks the bad guys use.
Yeah. Well, you know, like something you just need to put their address somewhere where everybody can see it, you know.
And like I said, for those of you who think, I can stir up shit, I use a VPN. All it takes is the right program to look at your desktop clock to figure out you're using a VPN and get around it.
Yeah, because it'll know the right time. Aye.
Yeah, it'll be kind of funny if VPN's reading in London, but your desktop clock shows that your time is in Hawaii.
Yep. Look, you're going to get the haters, you're going to get arseholes, you're going to get everything. I mean, it's going to happen. But at least we'll go down as I say this, we'll go down in history as the people that spoke out about it. We didn't go out in history as the people that stayed quiet about it and promoted it. Because they knew see, if you stay quiet about this, you're helping it. Yeah, you're helping it if you stay quiet about this.
Exactly.
You are a part of the trouble in this world now with child trafficking and that, you're a part of it if you don't talk about it. And you'll be like, oh, but what am I meant to do? See, the next time you see somebody, you should say, oh, you ever seen the film Sound of Freedom? Go and get a watch. Have you heard about this? Have you heard about that? That's all you need to do. Pass that on to somebody and tell them to do it again. Because see, the more people wake up, the less likely they'll lose power. Eventually they'll lose power. Because one day there'll be a border guard that's maybe watched the Sound of Freedom, right? Mm-hmm. And they'll see these barrels coming across the border, and they'll be, oh, these borders are. And he'll maybe check them, and he'll find something that you don't want to find inside them. See what I'm saying with this? You notice I'm starting to break up as I talk about this. It's quite interesting.
I will say this, and I think tomorrow we should continue the conversation, but
yeah,
we should focus it a little bit more close to home. Mm-hmm. The cases that either get unreported because it's their person's own family that's doing this to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it's not just these exotic networks. It's not just Hollywood. It's people taking advantage of their own kids, drugging them. I mean, I told Chris about a case that inspired tomorrow's episode.
I seen that. I couldn't believe that the woman got off it. I was like, what?
All because her husband was a cop.
Honestly, I just don't know. I really don't know anymore.
And when you really think about it, which one's worse? These elaborate networks or the ones where it's the parents doing it?
Well,
or the mothers not wanting to let go of the stepdaddies.
I'm going to say something.
Families not wanting to say anything because they'll be banned from seeing the children.
I'm going to say that that's a terrible thing, right? But there's also something I would like to talk about is what's happening now in schools and stuff. You know what I'm talking about.
You know what? Let's bring it in. Because the kids, they're supposed to be able to trust their parents. Supposed to be able to trust the police, school teachers. And look what the fuck's happening now.
Exactly.
I
watched a video. It was on TikTok last night. And it was in Ireland. And the mother and father were outside in the car park, and it was a school. And they thought, "Ken, something I'm going." It was a library. Sorry, it was a library, and you can go and watch this. And they said they just went in to look, right, and they were against paedophilia. That's what they did. That's what their job was, right? Because you see it all the time, everywhere, right? And they walked in. Oh my god! And it was loads of 5, 6-year-olds, and they had men dressed as women doing things in front of them, showing them what to do. Mm-hmm. And they videoed that.
And they're actually recommending children read these books on how to do it.
Yeah. It's absolutely sick. It's absolutely sick. See these people. Look, I've got nothing against if you're gay, right? I've got nothing against that. But see when you start going to schools and dressing up in chains and whips and stuff like that, and trying to show children these things, that's absolutely sick. And you should be taken out, and you should be whipped for what you're doing. And I don't care what folks say about that. I'll get a fuck.
You know
what I mean?
Andrew brings up an interesting point here. The talk about Baphomet. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay. When you really take into consideration, I think this is a good point to end the show on. We always hear all these words of Satanist practice, all that. The original meaning of the word Satan just meant adversary, opponent, equal opponent. That's it. There's only one ever instance of a physical being named Satan, and whenever that was named, it was usually prefixed by the term Satan. This is going back to the original Hebrew translations of the Bible. Obviously, that was the archangel known as Samael. and not even Lucifer. The two kind of got mixed up. The Satanists that everybody tries to point their finger at, say like the Satanic Church that's down towards the East Coast, I believe towards Tennessee, they're just as much against everything we're talking about as we are. They just use the image of Satan, Baphomet, as the big middle finger to the establishment, to Christianity that allows this stuff comes from.
I'll say this: what's going on the new with the schools and stuff and that, and what's going on the new with people dressing up as women and men and identifying as carrots and Christ knows what they're identifying as, is getting ridiculous. I watched the thing. It was actually on, I think it was on YouTube, and it was actually one of the Pride people. It was from the early 90s, came with the Pride in the early 80s, 90s, when it first started off. And these people are like New Orleans, big place, big to do with the Pride and stuff like that. And there was a group of them, and these people knew they're in their 60s, like, and they're like, one was dressed as a woman, right, which is fine. And they're like, they said, this is getting out of hand. They were actually saying, this is getting out of hand, this identifies thing. And what's getting taught at schools, it needs to stop. But it's like a freight train, it's just running away. It's getting worse and it's getting worse and it's getting worse.
There's a lot of LGBT people who are legitimately stepping away from the movement when it stopped being about equality.
Mm-hmm. It's madness because I'm feared to speak to anyone who that dress kind of funny because they're like, I identify as a non-binary turn up carrot. Christ knows what they are. So if they could I can identify as a carrot. I filled in. I'd seen when I was creating the Ghost Squad Scotland streaming service. It asked me what I identified as.
I know.
So I put carrot. I did. I put a carrot. Fuck it. Wait, no.
That doesn't surprise me. But you got to consider the fucked up thing here is that them targeting all these children. They know that the kids aren't going to know any better, and they're thinking all the kids are going to think is that it's going to be funky dances. These kids don't know what the hell they're being shown.
Like I seen a video the other day there, and it was a march. I don't know where it was. It was in the United States somewhere, and they were singing "We Are Coming for Your Children." Did you see that one?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and the cops are just standing there. They're just like, looking about. Looking for somebody like drop a bit of chewing gum or something like that, and they'll pile on taps, they're hitting them with their batons and stuff like that. It's mad.
Yeah.
There you go. There's Drew's abandoned paranormal. She wants to be addressed as a tree. See, I think we could take this. I think we could take the utter piss out of these things because we could identify. I'm identifying as a carrot from now on.
Oh, you small-minded people. You small-minded.
Oh, what you identify?
I would like to identify as United States president.
Well, that's it. He will have the president. I don't know. I'm just looking at the chat. Honestly, I honestly wonder sometimes.
Yeah, I know we kind of got off the rails. I'll probably have to do a follow-up on it to actually talk about the case.
Look, because it's all connected, Drew. It's all connected. It's pedophiles that run everything, right?
Our kids going into relationships with their best friends, confusing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I honestly just don't know anymore. The world's totally messed up. It really is messed up, and these people are. I don't know what to do with them. If I say it, I'll probably get arrested. See, that's the thing. The police now would rather beat somebody up for having a camera, right, than do anything about this. Which I'll agree you shouldn't annoy a police officer when he's trying to do his job and all that kind of stuff. Especially standing outside the police department. I think that's stupid because you get these people that do that kind of stuff. You can do it, but you shouldn't annoy them. But they could focus more on this. But obviously, maybe they're getting stopped. Maybe the higher ups are in this, and they're like, "Oh, you can't go near that."
Because unfortunately, when it comes to the police system, politics do become a part of it.
Yeah.
And just like the CIA shutting down the FBI investigation into the finders, and links are in the chat as well as in the description of this episode. So go see for yourself. It is astounding. But
look, yeah,
it's hard to fight.
Yeah.
You know, someone tried to point. It was like, what are we supposed to do? There's things to do, and we're doing our best to try to rally up some of the charities, so that way we're not just using this platform to bitch out. You know, we can actually do something to take some action.
Yes,
Yeah.
I just don't know. I honestly don't know. And if you're watching this and you know anything that's going on, please, is there anybody that can contact? Is there a special charity? That the Sound of Freedom, that guy runs a charity, didn't he? Is there any way, if there's anybody watching this that's got knowledge about what's going on now, just in the off chance, they can contact that guy or they can contact someone that can help?
Actually, you know what? Let's
just no chance that maybe there's somebody out there that maybe works for a celebrity.
Well, we'll say this: Sound of Freedom, Operation Underground Railroad. Once again, freaking Streamlabs is not letting us post in the chat directly from the streaming platform. It's kind of annoying. But yes, you have Operation Underground Railroad. They operate out of Salt Lake. There's several other charities that are very much involved in this, and a majority of them are trying to network even more so together to address this issue.
Yeah.
I have reached out to Operation Railroad to schedule a possible interview, but unfortunately, because of the movie, they've been getting a lot of other people doing it too, so it might be a while.
Yeah. So, guys, if you do work for a celebrity or you know any information, contact them and tell them everything you know. And if you've got files or you've got memory cards with anything on it, send it to them. Take it to them. Because believe me, they could help you. Well, they could help the children.
There's several different organizations, and yes, there's corrupt law enforcement out there, but still, contact your local authorities if you know something's up. They can't move in unless somebody tells them.
Exactly.
And tell them the second you know about it. Don't wait.
Okay. I don't wait.
No.
Why?
No, I don't.
5 years later, they found out. Aye.
Do you not realize how much of a problem that is? People that'll just start calling into cops about situations that happened a week ago.
Aye.
It's like,
and I
I'm
will
sorry. Say like fireworks being fired off, and you think someone blew their finger off. Don't you think that person could have used the help when the finger flew off?
And I'm going to say this to you guys: don't make stuff up and then just phone the cops just to think that you're going to do stuff. Get what I mean? Because I bet there's people out there that say, "Oh, I could be part of this movie, the next movie. I could make something up, then phone the cops and tell them all about it." Because there is people out there that lie. I ken somebody that works for the police, and they were telling me some of the mad, crazy prank calls they get.
Oh no!
There was they check it out.
They have to. I'll say this. No, I will say this before we go. There was an incident with a case I was actually involved with. It was a missing girl turned homicide. Someone called in that the rest of the bones were found. It was only her skull that was ever located. They got there, examined this scene. It was dog bones. And I'm not just talking Halloween decorations.
I honestly, there's some stupid people out there that think they can. Yeah. Drew's abandoned paranormal is that people need to talk. They need to grass on their bosses and neighbours. I bet there's somebody sitting out there right now, maybe not watching this, but they've got evidence that could put people away for a very, very long time.
But will they use it?
Or will they use it to better themselves?
Use it? Will they use it? Are they keeping it on standby because they have to hold something over these people?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how that alleged Frazzle Drip movie involving Hillary Clinton and Anthony Weiner's wife, Huma Abedin, I believe her name is pronounced, sexually torturing and mutilating a teenage girl.
No.
How that was allegedly found under a file called life insurance. Allegedly.
Yes.
Allegedly.
Aye, so it was to keep their person alive.
So, exactly. Because they knew the people they were dealing with. But as it doesn't go without saying, if you believe something is going on, the only way you can step up is to call it in right away. If you have evidence, share it.
Yes.
If you think there's some sort of political cover-up going on, save copies of everything. You can move up the chain of command and pressure it. It can be done.
If you are afraid, now here's one: if you're afraid that there's police officers that you know that might be involved in something like this, right? Go, if it's in America, go to the FBI. Just take stuff with them, copy it all, and take it to them. It's the best thing you can do. Don't even tell the police department. Just go straight to the FBI and get to them. And if you don't want to hand it in, put it in an envelope, put a stamp on it, and send it to them.
That's the thing. Post office over here has been known to scan the contents of envelopes of people marked.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And you're better just taking it right to the main door then. So here, listen.
Because you got to remember, the U.S. Postal Service is still a government. Is still a government product.
UPS.
Still.
FedEx or whatever it's called. Do it that way. Be home. Right. Yeah. So we'll be back tomorrow, guys. We'll be talking about tomorrow, more close to home subjects, and I hope you all have a lovely Saturday night. And may the aliens come down and take you away. And the people that's been doing these bad things, we're coming for you.
As the name of the clock app, as the kids like to call it, is called TikTok, gonna bring you down.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe anywhere you see Bald and Bonkers for even more insanity. Be sure to spread the love to the Bald and Bonkers boys' other endeavors. And a special thank you to our audience, guests, and everyone else who helps make this crazy ride happen. Amazing things are ahead. Learn more by visiting www.baldandbonkers.net. See you next time. Much love, and take care.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. From the deepest jungles to the outmost reaches of space and beyond the veils of death itself, the Bald and Bonkers boys are back for another episode. It's no secret that you won't know what will happen next, but Dakota Franson and Chris Moore promise that all bets are off. Viewer discretion and straitjackets advised. These two idiots live up to the name.
Right. I'm going to say this.
What the
We
fuck?
were live about 10 seconds into the Facebook group before that ended for us. We're having problems, guys, because the trailers for us is still playing, but for you guys, it's no.
Yeah,
I think it's because I'm signed in the same account. Do you know that?
Maybe. I
Yeah.
honestly have no clue.
It never does it.
Be,
It never does
the
it.
solar
If I'm
activity
in
that's been
myself.
going on.
Just went to welcome
Yeah,
in
that
the
is a
Ghost
good
Squad
point.
Scotland, Nando, and Louise, or whatever her name is. See, I'm getting. I'm going to disappear now. There's got to be a big beam of light coming down. Take me. I thought you was going to head there. You put my hopes up. I thought I was going home. I wanted to go home.
I don't blame you.
Here.
This fucked up world, man.
Oh, you fucked up?
Get the ship and get out of here.
Aye. Where did I leave the keys for the ship? Bastard. I can't remember where I put them.
I can't remember where I parked the damn thing.
Neither can I. I put the cloak on before I came here. I turned the cloak on. I parked it up. I turned the cloak on. And I can't remember where the keys are. And I can't remember where the cloak is. I can't remember where I parked either.
You mean cloak, right?
Hi, cloak.
What? Your accent keeps sounding like you're saying cock.
Cloak. Device.
I can't believe I put the cock
We
off.
need to turn on the cloaking device. You know, what's his name? Star Trek. Can you not remember where you left your cloak like?
Oh, Jesus. I shouldn't have said it, especially with what we're wanting to talk about tonight.
I can't help it, lads. You know, I knew. What's our guest that we had on last week? She likes my Scottish accent because she's Scottish too. She's a Highlander. Aye.
I was not expecting Danny because she always has like this calm ASMR type vibe to her videos. It's just like, whoa!
Can you imagine what's going to happen when we meet her again? Two Scottish.
Let's see if she gets cancelled on her. It gets her channel shut down again.
You forgot to turn on this cloaking device. Well, I said cloaking.
See, that actually sounded like cloaking.
Look, I'm Scottish. I'm sorry. I will take myself outside and whip myself naked through the streets. I'm very sorry.
Yeah. Videotape.
For some Americans,
make a lot of money on it.
What do you mean? You could hire you. I know this is just going south. This show, isn't it?
This is a bad opening for what we're wanting to talk about tonight.
I know. We'll have to come into the show a wee bit of fun and stuff like that, and because we're about to get into something really serious. We're about to get into something extremely serious that's going on in the world right now.
Well, we've been talking about the situation surrounding Sound of Freedom, as well as more human trafficking, legitimate government cover-ups. We wanted to do a bit of a focus on situations that are a little bit more close to home, simply because there's a lot of people that get into this mentality. They try to comfort themselves that these horrible things they may be happening, but they're not. They're all the way over there. And over there doesn't affect us, you know? And it's just like, no, this stuff's in our own backyard.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's absolutely
prayer is not enough.
Everywhere. Prayer is going to help slightly, but I don't think it's going to stop the child trafficking and the ships out at sea with all the barrels full of body parts and the cages full of children and the smuggling of children across borders and from the Mexican border into the United States, for God knows what border in the world, what the Chinese are doing, cutting people up just to take their organs, because they've got organs to farm, because they've got these big complex. You can actually look it up, guys. In China, they've got these complexes where they send the people in and bodies come out one end and then all the organ parts go off to like into other people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You can't have a crime out there and you've not got enough money, that's you.
But unfortunately, like we were saying, this is not something that is just some far away. This shit's happening in our own backyard. There's the cases where parents are institutionalizing their kids because they open up about the abuse that's going on at home. And not just because, they may have got into legitimate cases of self-harm, yes, but it's to shut up the kids and get them medicated.
It's not just
the number of abusers that think therapy as a way to sedate their victims who dare speak out against them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not just that they're actually teaching in school new things that they should never teach, and it's as if someone's gave them the rights to do it.
I don't know how the hell some of this stuff is being allowed, and what person in the right fucking mind wouldn't want to teach this.
Well, they're doing it to know.
Like, why are
I sent you that link.
Why are all these?
The guy exposed it.
Oh yeah, I know. I saw it. There's these institutions, just sending your kids to schools. These teachers who feel that the kids should be taught that it's okay for adults to want to have sex with them, to have naked drag queens come in there and teach them how to have gay sex. What the fuck do the kids need to know that? They don't care about that shit.
I watched a thing the other day there. It was someone said, "Oh, you need to see this. This is disgraceful." And I'm like, "All right, let's send it to me." And they sent it to me. It started off. It was in the United States, and it was what do you call the things that they do? It's like a band. They do it every year in like a certain town. It's like a parade kind of thing. It's just a normal parade. Right. It was like a harvest festival thing or something in one town, right? I can't remember where it was. It was somewhere in Idaho or somewhere. No, Idaho. Where did you call it? Farming state. Middle or flat.
That doesn't
famous for corn.
That doesn't limit it down.
But anyway, it doesn't matter for that. They had this thing on, and oh my god, started off fine, folk marching about, and then they had this big truck put up with all the guys in chainmail, like the YMC kind of guy in the leather, know that one. Then they jumped off in front of the kids with nothing on down below, dancing about in front of them all. And that was allowed. And that was allowed. See, if that had been a few years ago, those guys would have been put in a penitentiary for that.
This acceptance of pedophilia is... I'm just going to say it. I don't care if a person wants to be with someone of the same gender, or if they even want to go trans. That is their choice.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
But leave the fucking kids alone, you sick and twisted bastards.
Come on. It's getting to the point now where these sick and twisted people know they can get away with it now. Right? Because they
can.
And they're deliberate. There's a video out there where they're all dancing along and they're all, "We are coming for your children. We are coming for you." Imagine saying that. I mean, why say that?
How about all these parents that are subjecting their children to chemical alterations to their hormone levels to start the transition process early just because, and going full on wanting to go full on genital mutilation because the kids want to, let's say a boy says he wants to be a girl. What about the situations where it's a household where the girls are shown favoritism?
Yeah. What was if it's a household where the mother and father's making this happen to let a little boy turn him into a woman, and he doesn't want it, and they're making him do it? What was that case? What was that case? And again, this is nothing to do with. What was that case we were talking about last night where the kids had been locked away for all those years in America, but the mother's been let off?
Okay.
That.
This is actually the case that brought my attention, the one that inspired me to do this episode. Yeah. It was a case, it was a missing boy. His name was Rudy Ferreira III, I believe. It was here in the United States. He had been missing for 8 years, turned up outside of a church in absolutely horrible condition. Now his mother goes on all excited. She's got her Rudy back. Grief counselors separate the boy from his mother. The boy then goes to tell the counselor that the boy went back home after 2 days, but the mother kept him locked in the house and told this kid that he was going to be arrested for running away. Came home after 2 days, declared missing for 8 years. This boy then went on to go say that she would lock this kid inside the house, feed him severe hallucinogenic drugs, physically and sexually abuse him, and make him lay in bed with her and play daddy. In an interesting twist in this case, later on, the police announced that no charges are going to be filed in this case. A lot of people find it suspicious, being that there's so much detail behind this, that apparently the boy's father was a police officer who committed suicide.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people also questioning, well, if he was undergoing all this horrible abuse, why did he choose to go back with his mother willingly?
Because he's probably
These
been
kids are
brainwashed.
these kids are so fucked up in the head. It's his mom, though. That's what the situation makes it that much more fucked up. It's his mom. Even if his mom turned out to be the biggest pile of shit, it's still his mom. He's not going to be able to let that go. Stockholm Syndrome is a very real thing, people.
I just don't understand why she's not in a jail cell right now. I don't understand why they let that away.
And it's not just that she locked up the kid. She organized several fundraisers allegedly to help the search.
No, there must be more to this story. I looked it up last night, and I'm like, holy shit, how can this person get away with this? There's obviously someone covering for her. Someone high up covering for her.
Again, in this type of situation, knowing what I know about law enforcement, it could very well be a case where the police department did not want to disgrace the father's memory by doing this.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to comment on anything the counselor said.
Where's the kid now?
They weren't saying the...
What age is the kid
still
now?
At home.
He's still at home?
God. He hasn't been at school. In fact, it's not that he was just locked in a hole. She actually brought him out to go see the neighbors because mom apparently felt that enough time had passed since he was originally reported missing that if she convinced the kid to go by a different name, nobody would make the connection. And exactly, as John Morse says, there's a lot of mothers that have put their kids through these types of tribulations and nothing ever goes about. There's a favoritism towards the mothers that allows for this to happen, to where even legitimately the best fathers are treated, may as well have raped and murdered the children for the treatment they get.
Look, there's obviously somebody covering all this up, right? I mean, you just need to look at the White House and how things like that are covered up about his son, Mr. Biden's son. The evidence that was on that laptop alone, he should be in a jail cell somewhere. But he's not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was stuff on that laptop that would get people 30, 40 years in jail.
Oh, Linda, thank you. Thank you for asking this question, because this actually just goes to bring up something else. Did you know that the state of California blocked a bill to fight child trafficking?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, and guess what else? The Department of Justice here in the United States took child trafficking off its priorities. off of its concerns.
I think this goes deeper than people realize. I think they're all at it.
Yeah,
I think, and I know I'm going to mention his name, and folk don't like it when I mention his name, but I don't give a fuck. Donald Trump. He was fighting against this, right? He was fighting against this, and it just shows you how deep it goes. It just shows you how deep it goes.
You know, take into consideration the actor, I believe his name is Isaac Cappy, I believe his name was. Was a rising star. Not a lot of big roles to his name, but he was starting to get out there. He was in one of the Thor movies. Well, a lot of people find it funny that 2 days before he allegedly killed himself, he puts out a video saying, "I am not suicidal, but bad things are about to come at me."
Yeah.
Because actor Seth Green went to approach him one day and said, "We need to talk about chicken." Code word for pedophile rings in Hollywood.
Yeah. And that's actually
all this information, identifies Tom Hanks, Hillary Clinton. Fucking Tom Hanks, supposed to be one of the nicest fucking.
Well, we know about Tom Hanks, don't we? Forrest.
And he's on the Epstein flight list.
Yeah.
He names Hillary Clinton. He names all these people. And he actually tries to do the right thing and reports it to the authorities. Now he's dead by suicide, allegedly.
This is actually a good kind of segue into Hollywood, actually, because there's actually quite a lot of interesting stuff about Hollywood that's happening now. You want to start talking about that? Because I think it's a subject that we really need to talk about, because there's got to be stuff coming out soon, and I think they're trying to cover up. I think they're trying to cover themselves for this. Off you go, man.
All right. There's actually a few points I want to reiterate. There is, okay, let's take into consideration what's going on with Jim Caviezel ever since he started talking about adrenochrome and did Sound of Freedom. All of his legal representation got dropped. He's being blackballed in Hollywood. Same thing happened with Mel Gibson when he started talking about this stuff. He knew within a certain time frame he was going to start getting blackballed because he was going to start talking. And I find it funny, Chris's signal seems to be going out.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I can connect it to my 5G if need be, but it shouldn't be because I'm running quite a high internet. It's weird.
It's like early 2000s. Who's one of the biggest actors out there? Ashton Kutcher. Ashton Kutcher goes to start an organization that helps with the technical side. This is what I'm segueing into. That helps with the technical side in order to get rid of child pornography from the internet. Amazing thing that he's done. He founded the organization Thorn. He's actually been on FBI raids to save some of these children. And some of the stories, it screws with his head. So, what's going on in Hollywood today? Well, several actors are starting to step up to join the writer's strike. Because now, initially, we're all being told it's basically all the writers feel that they're being gypped on pay, which is a legitimate thing. Several Hollywood studios take every measure they can to take pay away from the people that make them money. All your favorite TV shows out there, the actors are more or less working for free. Just barely being paid enough to help cover room and board, so that way they're close enough to film on set. That's it. That is a legitimate thing. Actors are stepping in, and one of their lines they're toting is that with the advancements in artificial intelligence programs, they're not the ones actually in the film.
Yeah.
They feel that their likeness is going to be robbed from them and inserted into these films without their consent, and they're not getting paid for it. Now, this also draws up a lot of concern because, you probably have heard about deep fakes. You've probably seen those apps online where, You can take your or somebody else's picture and put it into like a movie scene. Real fun, right? That started to advance to where you can insert someone's whole body into the footage.
Yes.
And a lot of people would think, oh, that's motion capture. Don't you need a suit for that? Not anymore. I believe you can get the software. If you have a decent enough computer to be able to run it, obviously, you can actually get the software to run automatic motion capture software. Do all these little really cool videos with all these different characters. Now, mind you, the graphics for this is getting to be photorealistic. I mean,
Oh yeah,
Chris, you've probably seen the promos that were coming out for The Matrix, right? That were all generated by Unreal Engine.
Well, but I can also say the last Indiana Jones movie, the latest Indiana Jones movie, there's a bit in it where he's his younger self, and that's where they've taken his face. Have you not seen that where he's younger looking?
Mm-hmm.
And he looks. I shit you not, he looks in his 20s, in his 30s. That round about that, he looks so young, and that's taking an image of his face, and then it's plopped it on somebody.
These programs are scary accurate. That's the thing.
Yeah.
These are scary accurate. So as someone who's a bit of a tech nerd, obviously if I can figure out how to use it, I have to make some of the videos I own that just for fun. But the concern that's come up is what's going to happen if videos of all these actors start surfacing committing some very atrocious acts.
Yeah.
Are they going to start claiming it's all AI?
I bet that's
because let's face it, these programs are getting good. I mean, you can get the software for your phone these days. Yeah. So any bored kid out of their mind could completely stage something like this.
Yeah, I mean, we just need to look at the new Transformers movie. The technology that's in that. Have you seen the new Transformers? But I've not seen it yet. But I've seen.
I have seen the previews.
And
but
the graphics in that is outstanding. It's like, oh my god, it looks just so real. And if they can take one person, make them look about 20 years younger, they can do anything they want. So it makes you wonder too about like actors that have died, and they want to bring them back.
I mean, look at the actors that they CGI'd in for the newer Star Wars movies. Look at the Will Smith movie, Gemini Man, where it was essentially Will Smith kicks the Fresh Prince ass.
Yeah.
I mean, there was this controversy that stirred up in Hollywood years ago where a director was wanting to bring back James Dean.
I heard that.
I mean, Val Kilmer for the new Top Gun.
That's right.
His voice is completely shot. They simply just took audio clips from the first Top Gun in order to generate it today. And it sounds so good. The only people safe from that particular piece of software is anybody with thick-ass accents like him.
Hey, the new. But talking about accents in the movie industry, Morgan Freeman. I've noticed a lot of adverts lately on especially YouTube and TikToks where it's his voice, but it's no him that's doing it. It's all AI generated. And it's getting better, and it's getting better, and it's getting better.
Because I seen one the other day for one of the first voices they would try to train it on.
It was Morgan Freeman selling shampoo, and it was an advert on YouTube. It was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? It's Morgan Freeman selling shampoo, but it's not really him, obviously. I mean, push the questions in the chat there. Let's have a look.
Nah, just some general comments. I don't know who Emily is.
America's Got Talent had a talented pair of AI specialists as they brought on a singer.
They brought on a singer and pasted Simon Cowell's face on him. Yeah. I mean, back in the day, just maybe 10 years ago, at least, all that someone would have to do was move a little too quickly and you'd be able to see it plainly. Yeah. Not anymore. Yeah. Like Henry Cavill's mustache in Justice League.
Look, it's going to come. I mean, we're in 2023, right? Can you imagine what it's got to be like in 2030? Can you imagine what it's going to be like in 2025?
Wow, we don't even need to wait that long. I mean, just think about
Look at computer games now. Look at computer games, the way the computer game industry is going.
Exactly. I mean, you don't even have to look at that. Look at some of the fancier advertising things you see in like Saudi Arabia and Japan. How lifelike these things are.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that footage you see around of what looks like whales swimming through the sky. Looks really cool. Everybody's figuring that's blue beam technology in its early works.
There's an interesting question there for Pete, son of the naked Bigfoot. Spiritually speaking, creating those soulless copies of the dead people won't end well. See, that's true, Pete. Because I see there's a lot of technology out there, and I wouldn't use it. I can remember my grandmother and all my loved ones that I've lost and stuff, and I know people that have been using this technology and like taking their grandmother, a picture of them, and they're speaking. They're actually having a conversation with this person, but it's AI that they're having a conversation with.
There's actually new funeral services where people can have conversations with the deceased person, and it was because this person had a series of pre-recorded responses. I mean, going back to the gaming industry, a lot of major games, like I think even Rockstar's thinking about it for Grand Theft Auto, starting to implement AI.
Yep.
So
you can actually
NPCs start taking on their own life.
Yeah, they're wanting to like take a picture of your face and basically pop it on them.
Oh, that shit's already been around for quite some time.
Aye, it looks terrible, but I mean, it's meant to be better than what it is now.
I mean, just look at some of the filters on TikTok on how accurate some of those, like the age progression ones that's going around lately.
Aye, but look at that face app that was it, and actually Pete, son of the naked Bigfoot, Mike, one of our good friends. Mind he used to post all the time. Remember, he used to post all the time.
He used to use Reface all the time. I still have it downloaded on my phone.
And there's some absolute crazy ones he's done.
Yeah,
but it just shows you the technology there. It's literally mad. What's that? Wait until there's literally a ghost.
There's literally a ghost in a machine.
Exactly, Pete. Exactly.
And of course, it kind of sounds like we're a couple of nerds going on a tirade about how amazing AI is getting. But the situation that we're trying to address here, just to kind of reel it back into the main topic of conversation tonight. Right as the world is starting to learn the truth about what's been going on, it's awfully funny that more effort is being done to blur the lines.
You don't know what's real now. You honestly don't know what's real on TV. Just like your president, there's things that don't add up with him when he's doing his speeches. Because sometimes he looks totally different for the times before. And there's times where he looks, I think he's got doubles everywhere. It's either that or they're using AI. I think they're using AI. So how can anyone know the truth from fiction the technology has suppressed? Possible deniability. See, that's the problem. How do you...
I mean, let's go into a case Chris and I are both familiar with because it ended up involving a friend of ours making some very, very dumb decisions. One of the things he tried to claim was that photos of his crimes were altered. The thing was, the man had a lot of tribal tattoos. And right now, that's still one of the strongest defenses against deep fakes, is whether or not you have a tattoo in a certain spot that's seen in the video. But with how far AI is becoming and with AI actually rewriting itself to better itself on its own, even that line, we're not going to be able to tell unless we have like our own little Cortanas on the side, able to point out, yeah, that's not real.
There's another one question. What if they successfully create an AI look-alike for the what's the prevention control of the US to up?
To be usurped. There's been efforts to usurp the United States government ever since Franklin D. Roosevelt was in office by the Nazis. As far as AI lookalikes, well, they say everybody in the world has at least 7 lookalikes, and allegedly, since I think it was the Kennedy assassination, they have used doubles. They would find individuals who look like the president, pay for their plastic surgery to match the face even more clearly. But you also got to remember, makeup is still one hell of a thing.
Yeah. Who's to say that the president that's in the White House the new as the president? Who's to say it's just an AI artificially? And there is doubles. He could have died months ago for all you know. And there is a lot of big conspiracy theories out there that actually thinks that. Because there's something really, really strange going on, especially with Joe Biden. I'm not feared to say his name. What's that Son of the Naked Bigfoot saying there, Dakota?
Something truly evil in the spirit world is going to co-op AI and use it as an avatar to come into our world and do some truly awful things. The Catholic Church has been afraid of that for years.
Pete is right there. Remember, it was actually his dad that was talking to us one night about this. It wasn't even alive, I don't think. I think it was behind the stage, and we were actually we got into this discussion. We were talking about you talk about like how a being or whatever it is, an entity can possess an item, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why could an entity with evil intentions, right, possess a quantum computer that's got an AI in it, and then all of a sudden it wants the ruin of man? That's its main purpose is. It's there to destroy man.
What's going to happen when... Now, obviously, we all know there is the efforts to push for digital copies of the soul, of our consciousness, so that even if people die, there's still a piece of them that's still left behind. You know, you see, I think there was the show Black Mirror. I know Simpsons did a parody of it, where a person's consciousness was copied into this, what would essentially be an Alexa device. So that person... that would have more personal service.
Just reading the chat. See, this is the thing. Let's go back onto this kind of subject, the kind of child trafficking thing, because I've got a theory here. See how Elon Musk is bringing out this brain chip thing, and this is today with AI and all artificial intelligence. It says it'll read people's memories, right? It'll read people. Everybody will be connected, and it'll read people's thoughts and all that kind of stuff, right? So, what about the people that are doing the child trafficking here? Will the AI detect that?
Or, depending on who has control of it during its development stages, who's to say the AI won't purposely have safeguards to protect these people?
Yeah. Or that's what it'll do. It'll go... Look, AI is dangerous, and I'm going to say that right now. AI is dangerous. Pete, I agree with you 100%. AI is very dangerous, and I think it should stop right now. Do you know there's probably AI listening to us right now? AI is probably working. AI is watching for Facebook place there. Though in Facebook, AI is running that. On YouTube, there's AI running that. There's AI listening to us right at this moment. And then it brings you into the subject, AI, once highly intelligent, with this technology where it can change people's faces, make them younger, that it could, in theory, frame you for something.
People have already tried it. It's already been done. There's people out there who are using artificial intelligence to create fake child pornography.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the apps you can get like on your phone, they have safeguards to prevent that because people were using this to create deep fakes to get back at their exes. I just heard of one gentleman who broke up with his ex, so he waited until Mother's Day of all days to send all of their couples pictures to his ex's mom. It's like, that was a dick move.
The world's fucked up, right? Let's face it. The child trafficking, the rings, everything, it needs to stop, and we need to start doing something about this. I mean, I'm shocked that me and you, out of all the people we know, are the only ones really talking about this. Do you not find that strange? Nobody's wanting to put their neck out there.
Not really. It goes just like what we were talking about. I know
other people have been tried there.
Yeah, you talk about it, you get shut down. You get blackballed.
Blackball me all the bloody want. I'm not caring anymore.
You're made irrelevant as bloody possible.
Aye. If I can wake up just one person, that one person could wake up two people. See where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
Where's some in the chat there, Linda? What's that? It's right up there with.
But be sure to remember, it's the soul that truly makes a person independent. But what if walk-in souls started to find AI bodies? You have to take into consideration the essence of the soul is still a little much for modern computers. And I love the face that Chris is frozen on right now.
I'm not frozen. I'm just really still.
No, this.
Oh, was I frozen? Well, here's the thing, right? I'm going back to what Pete was saying about the ghost. Well, I'm going back to what Pete was saying about the Son of the Naked Bigfoot was saying about the AI, the ghost in the machine, right? Well, we know there's all these dark entities out there, right? Because his dad told us about them. His dad, Mike, amazing guy, told us about these dark entities that exist, right? It's true that one of them could possess a robot of some kind, an android of some kind, an artificial intelligence of one kind. I mean, it's scary because there might be, and I'm coming up to something and you'll be asking why this is to do with the sex stuff and all that. I'll tell you now. Maybe there's an AI out there that's helping these people protect themselves, as you said, Ken. I mean, protect the people that are trafficking in children and stuff like that, because it's evil, and it wants that. That's what it wants.
As Elena points out, and I believe I just saw a comment from Pete pop up. AI has no soul, but it's in a tool. It's going to do what it was designed to do. So somebody out there has the technical know-how to build an AI to somehow help the trade. They'll make it.
What was that? Was it a case where the kid said that the computer was talking to him, and it said it was a demon, but it was all right with him? What was that again?
Kind of sounds like those talking animal apps you get on your phone.
It says I am demonic and all that, but I'm going to be nice to you. And as soon as his father came into the room, it totally changed. It went really evil on him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most of those are probably urban legends, or the equivalent.
No. This is there's actually. It was, I can't remember who was talking about it. It was quite a high up figure was talking about this, and it's true. It's true. There could be AI systems out there running right now, protecting these people that are smuggling children. Because let's face it, we've got all these cameras everywhere, right? We've got cameras everywhere, right? Somebody can be tracked now with phones and technology can be tracked, but if there's a really advanced AI that's there to protect, you see where I'm going with this? It's there to protect the child trafficking. It could, in theory, delete files. It could delete video, delete pictures.
if it's been thought of for, and there's probably going to be a couple people who say, "Oh, that sounds like a sci-fi movie." If it's been thought about for a sci-fi movie, it can be done. Think about how much crap that was in Star Trek that's come to reality.
Is it Facebook user?
And who's to say that there isn't?
Right. You go.
No, I was just going to say, like Crystal was saying, who's to say that there isn't a sophisticated AI program that is guided by facial recognition software to protect certain individuals to help them stay dark, for lack of a better word?
Yeah. How do we not know that? Let's, for instance, the CIA. If any's disappeared, guys, you know what happened? The CIA, maybe I'm about to break into something here. Maybe the CIA's got a special program running for them that goes looking for people trying to prove this, and it destroys everything they've got, all of the evidence that they've got. That's its main purpose.
Actually, did you know the CIA has actually put out some of their tools as open source software?
Really?
Where anybody can get their hands on it?
Aye, that's so they can get and infiltrate your computer. Because I can bet your boots they've infiltrated all our computers and everybody in the chat. Everybody that's come into the chat tonight, guys, I bet you, because you're watching a subject like this, that you're now on the list. Sorry about that, guys, but you probably are.
That's what
That's
what they usually mean by staying dark, Linda, when it comes to that type of topic. It's like you're dark, you're not seen on radar, visual, you're practically a ghost. Yeah. And there is that tech out there. And it is scary impressive.
Here's an interesting thing I bet you didn't know. I watched a thing the other night, and it was about a guy that used to work for the CIA. Even if you take the battery out of your phone, they can still track you.
Mm-hmm.
The guy was actually saying, he says, in the olden days, you used to get a mobile phone, take the battery out, and break the SIM card, right? And you couldn't be tracked. But with the newer technology now, you can take the SIM card out, snap it, you can take the battery out if you can get the battery out, right? It will still track you. It still knows where you are. There's no hiding. You would think in this day and age, with all this technology, they could easily track down these people that are doing these heinous crimes to these poor children, right? But they'll not want to.
You think about it,
because
when you think about no, somebody's already come out and said that this tech's being developed.
Mm-hmm.
There is weapons being developed that can target certain genetic factors.
Yeah. And I'm afraid people, yes, Kathleen, you probably are on the list of where all the rest is.
Yeah. Hope that doesn't affect my ability to fly here soon.
You'll be fine. But I'm sorry. We've only got a bus. Don't worry, it only takes 4 weeks to get there.
Oh, yeah. Just watch my plane come down under suspicious circumstances.
Don't worry, me and Jack, we'll have a full 2 minutes in memory for you.
You better be fucking more than that. I'm the one that keeps this shit running.
I know. But look, you'd be missed terrible. I mean, everybody in the chat. Look, we're all basically in it now because we've clicked onto this. Everybody that ever watches anything, and this is the thing, guys, with this technology, with anybody that watches anything to do with conspiracy, you're on a list now.
Mm-hmm.
You're on a list. So as soon as you start watching, if you just randomly flick through TikTok and you can see a conspiracy about the jibby jab, right? And you start watching that and you share that to somebody, as soon as you share that to somebody, you're on the list. Because the artificial intelligence knows that. It knows what you do. It knows what you watch.
The same technology that is utilized in order to recommend you certain products and services through say like ads on Facebook, ads on Google, same tech.
Yeah. This is why,
just as there's tech to hide this, they have the tech to stop this. But they won't.
That's what I'm saying. They in theory, with the technology that's running now, they could make an AI software that would go, and its main purpose was to hunt down these people, find out where they are, where they're moving the stuff, where the people are held, and they would know it. See, within a couple of days, they would know everything, but they don't want to do that because it's too lucrative to them.
But then there's also situations like what just happened in California, where legislation blocked any bills to be able to fight child trafficking. There'd be litigation that stops it. Whatever happened, I mean, there was at one point in our history where there was one particular senator, and would be the only one in the group, who would try to say no to any bills that would involve prison time for child traffickers. FBI launched an investigation. Yeah, he was trafficking kids.
Yeah.
And it's just, is this a situation where people are giving up because they know that there's just too many of them out there?
I don't think, I mean, look, I think what we need is a change in governments, and that's the honest truth. We need somebody in the office. We need somebody. I'm not saying Donald Trump. I'm saying somebody. There's other presidents there that could make a good president. Yeah, I mean, that could become president, that could change things. We need somebody that's going to be willing to go after these people, all of them. But then it puts him or her at risk. We need somebody willing to go after these people and stop it once and for all. I mean, you'll not be able to stamp it out completely. Eventually you will, but it'll take years and years and years.
That's the problem, though. All the steps that need to be taken take years and years and years in order to get past all the fucking great red tape.
Exactly.
But these situations are so sophisticated that the evidence is getting rid of within a matter of hours.
Yeah.
And it's not just these sophisticated networks. It's the parents that are subjecting their own children to torture in order to stage child pornography.
I'm going to say this, right? And I don't care if the CIA take me and kidnap me or whatever, because I'm past caring. I would say a lot of these people that are involved in this have infiltrated like schools and hospitals, and I think they're everywhere. I honestly do. I think they're everywhere. I think there's thousands and millions of them. I really do. And it's getting to the point now where it is going to take years. It really is going to take years. I mean, the technology's there. We just need to find somebody intelligent enough to write a software, AI software. This is an idea for somebody out there. Write a software, an AI system that's no dependent on any. Once it's been released, that's main purpose is to make these child traffickers' lives a nightmare. You see what I'm saying with this?
Here's the thing, though, Chris. Mm-hmm. This kind of goes back to the people who may have the mental capability to go after these people, but they may not be able to mentally handle having to sit there and go through all the AI training. I mean, think about it. In Sound of Freedom, you see Jim Caviezel's character start to break down because he has to sit there and watch every second of every tape of these children.
Yes.
The AI has to watch it all in order to know what to look for. And yes, there are programs being developed. The organization I mentioned that Ashton Kutcher funded, Thorn, they had that software. And it had to be trained.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like you're making RoboCop or you're making the Terminator, an artificial intelligence that I don't know if you could maybe train an artificial intelligence to go and train another artificial intelligence, if you get where I'm going with this. Once that's released, you can't stop it. Once it's out there, that's that. And its main purpose is to make
building new AI.
But its main purpose is to make the lives of these child traffickers a nightmare. Just it only goes for them. You could do it if you had the money. If you had the money and the time, and you had the expertise and how to program it, you could do it. The CIA's like that guy. He has to disappear now for saying that.
Well, let's take an example out of pop culture real quick.
Right.
The film X-Men: Days of Future Past.
Oh, right.
Sentinels, we could technically consider those as AI. Story goes that the reason why the world was all going to hell was because instead of just targeting people with special abilities, they started figuring out how to detect the genome that would allow for these abilities to pop up generations early. This could very well be a situation where individuals who may have that mentality to potentially become predators because they were once attacked before are being targeted and rounded up like they had already committed a crime, even though they fight every day. We got to be able to also draw the line to also help these victims. So it's not just we pull them out of the hole and say, best of luck to you.
I know.
We got to be sure to address the victims as well, because a lot of the people that get involved in this type of stuff who commit these horrible acts may have been victims themselves. I am not trying to justify this in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying this as someone who has had family members make that dumbass decision and honestly cannot hold the anger and resentment I once held for these individuals after I learned that they were victims themselves. It doesn't justify that they did it. They were full-grown ass adults with more than enough ability to be able, this distinction to tell what's right and what's wrong, and they still chose to do the wrong thing and continue on that cycle.
It needs to stop. We need to make, I would say we need to make laws tougher. What's that in Florida? Have they not brought out the death penalty for? I'm sure they brought out the death penalty for paedophile or whatever. Have they not done that? No. In Florida?
I don't recall.
I think they have. They've changed. There's something in Florida they know. Check it out. They know. But I think we need to make these things better. I think they need to make you do the crime and it's severe. As severe.
Yeah, DeSantis is apparently trying to. Oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
They did back in April. Yeah. Yeah, DeSantis. I mean, hell, he'd be an interesting president at this rate, but.
That's what we need. We need somebody that's going to pass laws. I don't mean giving them a couple of years in jail. I mean, like, you do it and you get 40 years in a penitentiary. And I know that sounds, people will be like, oh, but maybe they were victims. I say, maybe they were victims. They can use that 40 years to, what do you call it, try and recuperate that. But what I'm saying is, if you're really tough, if you're really, really tough with this, right, they're not going to want to do it, are they? Because they'll be fearing in case they get caught. Think about it.
It's a lot like the Philippines president who has ordered police to openly shoot and kill anybody involved in the drug trade.
I heard about that.
And his exact words were, any critics were, don't fuck with me.
And then when he did that, the drug smuggling that dropped significantly.
Yeah, they don't fuck around with that shit over there.
Exactly.
They openly advertise that when you fly into the country.
Yeah, I think, and then people are going to say, but what happens if you've done it and you're no guilty and stuff like that? Fair dues, you appeal your case and you try and prove it. But see if you're found with underwhelming evidence.
Exactly, that's the other part of this. What about all the people that are trying to use, say, like the Me Too movement in order to falsify claims?
Exactly.
And they walk off scot-free. What about incidents where there's these younger girls who openly go after older guys because they know if they get caught, they basically get a little bit of therapy and a slap on the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
And where there's been cases where where by all measures, the gentleman who was under the focus of the investigation had every right to assume that this lady was of age, to where even the judge says, "I'm sorry, but I have to sentence you." The judge is even feeling sorry for this poor bastard.
I know. We need. I don't know how to sort it. I see. If I was in power now, I don't know how to sort it. I wouldn't have came out today.
There's too many factors to consider.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. The concept of no-fault divorces, just as an example, that was put forward, I believe, here in the States, I believe, by Ronald Reagan, as a way for abused wives to get away from their spouses, because anytime they would try to file for divorce, it wasn't seen as justified enough reason.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, that was a good workaround then, but going back to all these women that are, it's like Danny was asking, what happened to all the real men? We're all getting scared off by broken ass women who take advantage of the system to try to get for their own gain.
I shouldn't be laughing at this, but it is getting ridiculous. It is getting ridiculous. This movie.
It's okay to have a nervous laughter. We get it.
It's for folk dress up and they're like, what do you identify as? You man? No. You woman? No. What are you? I'm non-binary, non-binary. And they've got some of them as stupid as names. I mean, what happens if you go into a place now and you see one of these people dressed up, right, and you say, "Excuse me, sir," say it's a guy, right, say it's a man, right, and they're like, "I'm not a man," and I say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs." Right, you call them a woman, and they're like, "I'm not a woman. I identify as a non-man, as a non-woman." I mean, what are you meant to do? How are you meant to ken? It's mad. It's stupid. God, see, honestly, see this world. Honestly, some of the folk that's in it, honestly, it's a stupidness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's the world going to be like in 50 years when these people have taken over?
I think, actually, if I remember correctly, Bill Maher just did a segment about this where Bill Maher did a segment about this where, he compared the statistics to how many people identified as being parts of the LGBT. All right. So, like 20 years ago, it was maybe like, 5% of the population is just a steady incline. You say in about 50 years' time, they say that everybody's going to be identifying as LGBT if this trend continues. Now, again, we had nothing against people who want to be with people of the same gender. In that sort of situation, the only ever fucking concern there should be is if it's a situation of abuse. Otherwise, do you.
Look at that in the chat.
Boom.
That's interesting.
In Michigan, yeah, I heard about that.
It's madness. Yeah. It's ludicrous.
It's an understatement.
Do you know? I was watching something the other day. I watch a lot of stuff. I don't know if you've noticed, but anyway, there was this woman, and she was at this rally, and one of these LBG or whatever they're called come up to her. One of these different, whoever they are, I don't know what they identify as, a chicken or something. I don't know. Come up to her and says, "It was a man dressed as a woman." Right? Again, nothing wrong in that, but when you're trying to feed the kids and stuff like that, that's different. And said to the woman, she says, "I'm going to be expecting soon. I'm going to try and get pregnant." But it was a man with a beard. And she'd went, "You can't get pregnant. You've not got ovaries. I'm a woman. I was born a woman." And they turned round, or she turned round, or whatever he identifies as, turned round and said to the woman, she says, "But you don't identify anymore as a woman either. You're non-binary woman." And she says, no, I identify as a woman. This is what she says. And like, and they were all up in rare. She said, I want her arrested and all that because she says she doesn't identify as a non-binary woman. I mean, this is the madness. People dressing up and then think they can get pregnant.
Yeah.
They actually believe it.
They're abusing the systems.
Of course they are.
And they're abusing the systems to try to beat people into submission that don't agree with their views.
Exactly. You have no idea the amount of reporters. You have no idea the amount of reporters and people that have tried to interview them in the street have been beaten up by these people. Do you know that there was actually it was on YouTube and there was this it was for the gay rights movement for the early 80s. And they were, transvestites, right? And they were actually protesting against this. They were on the side. They were protesting against this. And a man dressed as a woman went up to one of them and punched him square in the face. And the police arrested the person that was punched in the face. Said they were inciting violence. And the police officer had a top on that said, I love LBG and all that kind of stuff. I mean, how mad can you get? Do you know, I seen a police car the other day there and it was all done in the Grey Pride flag. And it actually had the brown bit on the flag on the car. And we know what the brown stands for, don't we, ladies and gentlemen? You counted Sunsford, didn't you, Dakota?
Mm-hmm.
I actually had it on the hood of the police car. It's sick. It really is sick. I don't care. If nobody talks to me again, I don't care. I'm past it now.
It's no longer about gaining equality, though.
It's
about gaining superiority. I've said it before. Every major political movement has been compromised, and a lot of, it's actually just reminded me of something. There's this childhood psychologist. She worked for schools, teenagers, saw, how different generations go up. She firmly believes that this decline started when women started entering the workforce.
I honestly just don't know.
The decline of the family unit. That this level of confusion. I have nothing against them if one wants to go to work.
This is what I might make.
But
this is when you go. Sorry, when you go. No, say.
No, I was just going to say the decline is coming from the fact that the family unit is gone.
Yeah, totally gone now. Totally gone. What I want to say is this: I've got nothing against. I've got a lot of gay friends. I have got a lot of gay friends, and even they are sickened in the way things are turning out.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to dress as a woman, knock yourself out. If you want to be gay, you want to be a lesbian, knock yourself out. It's absolutely fine. But do not try and teach children under 3 and 3 years old to do the same. That's what I'm saying. Wait to their age.
Kids that age, they're just... Kids that age, they don't care about the gender labels. They're just gonna play. They just want to play with the fucking toys. They don't care if it was made for boys or girls. That's the thing.
I'm going to say this to you. Oh my god! Look, the world's went mad. It really has. It's went mad. I was going to say something there, but I've totally forgot about it there. You ever get that? You forget
all the time.
It's just, God. I just don't know anymore. I really don't. Wait till they're adults and let them decide for themselves. Honestly, let them decide for themselves. Don't try and bring it on to them. But you see, a lot of predators are using this.
Exactly.
That's what I was going to say. A lot of predators are using this to get into these situations.
You know what a predator has actually admitted was his scouting criteria for who he would target?
No, and you go.
Say if a predator is targeting a child, they're going to look for signs that the father's not around, a figure that could easily pummel them to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to look for any signs that a mother works all the time. And again, if it's a situation where she has to, that's fine. You do what you have to do. They're going to see if that child has a lot of friends. They're going to look for any signs that of general frustration that may be twisted to where the child may be tempted to run away. They're looking for people that are essentially isolating themselves, and the dynamic we are fostering in society these days, especially here in the West, in Western cultures, is making people not want to deal with each other. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's guys out there who are so sick of feminist movement that they're getting their passports and flying across the world to find a woman.
I see what Linda's saying about the brown, but there's another colour that's on the flag now, and it's to do with paedophilia. Right?
Yeah,
look it up. Don't believe in Google. Google's shit. Google's terrible. They'll not tell you anything. Google's one of the biggest disinfo in the history of the internet. But
yeah, there's certain bits of it where it's including what they're trying to call MAPS, minor attracted persons.
Yes, that's what it is. But here's the thing: I was going to say before I forgot. What do you think of that case? Before we go off, what do you think of that case of the woman that sued her mum and dad because they had her without their permission?
And she's telling people that they need to go to a psychic medium to see if a child wants to be born here.
This is the children of the day, ladies and gentlemen. This is what idiots of the world are bringing into the world. I don't think it's the parents. I think it's what they're getting taught. I don't think it's the parents. I think it's what they're getting taught at the schools that's doing this.
Exactly.
Do you know that there was
here in Scotland at home?
Do you know that here in the UK, I'll not say what part of the UK, that there was 2 school children, 2 young ladies, and admire them for what they did. They stood up to the teacher and said, "This is just ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This needs to stop." And they were banned from the school. I think to go to a different school after that, because one of their classmates came in dressed as a cat, and they went to the toilet at the back of the class in a litter box. You've seen that film? Was it the woman and the man wakes up 100 years later, or was it 200 years later, and everybody's turned into complete and utter idiots?
Idiocracy.
That's going to happen within the next 20 years. It's already here anyway in a short amount, but it's getting more and more.
Hard to argue with that.
Exactly. So, Dakota, do we have MD for next week, or what's the week ahead?
The week ahead was full of mystery, as
yet
it always is.
And if we disappear or we're found dead in a mysterious way, you can thank the CIA for that.
I will say this. There's a lot of New Age that tries to push the idea that we're here to experience emotions and all that, and which it partly is true. But in the same time, it stands to where the reason why a lot of this is allotted is because predators have realized people are now alone.
Yeah.
Probably more than ever. In a society that's the most connected it's ever been. I mean, look at us. We're doing a show together. He's all the way in Scotland. I'm over here in Idaho in the U.S. We're isolating ourselves even more just because of this indifference, and it has to stop. The family unit is completely gone. Nobody knows. the basic necessities. They say that a father should teach their children like how to change the oil in their car and their wiper blades. That's gone. Then there's the pressures that others try to say, like, oh, your father didn't teach you. It's like, my father wasn't around, you asshole.
I'm going to tell you
something. The whole dynamic is gone.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you one more thing that I think is ridiculous, and I know a lot of people in the military, right? The Air Force, the Navy, stuff like that. And what I've noticed is now there'll be people that come in, these people that identify as God knows what, that'll come in and they'll actually get out. They'll actually get out of doing like running an assault course because they say they identify as like someone that kind of do this, right? What's going to happen when there's a war or people need protected? And I can just see it now in the battlefield of the future. All these people running through the fields with high heels on and lipstick and purple.
Yeah.
It's got to be
all
epic.
These people that are identifying as people with disabilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck you.
There's people that identifying as being blind.
Suffering from these conditions.
Yeah, there's people out there that say they're blind. They identify as a blind man. But they're not.
Exactly. Fuck you.
But because of this gender equality thing, they're actually saying, you're blind. Oh, here's loads of money. Here's loads of money because you can't work. Here's loads of money. You're blind. And they're driving about in motors and stuff. But identify as blind.
Exactly.
You gotta make it up, man.
Fuck you for bastardizing all legitimate medical conditions that affect the quality of life of several people, and the people who actually have these disabilities are more human than you will ever fucking be.
Yep. Facebook's asked me the other day what identified as, and I put carrot.
I'm gonna put U.S. president.
You should put U.S. president. I never thought about that one. Hillary Clinton. You could say you're Hillary Clinton.
Hell no!
I should have put identify as Dr. Evil.
Yeah. See, that makes more sense. I can level with Dr. Evil more.
Oh. It was quite funny because I was doing an insurance policy. I was doing an insurance policy for my car, and it come up and it says, "What do you identify as?" I was going to put something mad. I've not thought about what I could put yet because it's a couple of months away before I do it.
Prime Minister.
What would be funny if I was horribly
Minister.
Killed and they were reading it out? What would be funny? At the scene of the crash, I know I'd be dead and all that, but they'd be like, "This what could identify as?" Because when the police officer says man or woman, it'll be something else. The Prime Minister was killed in a crash. Honestly, guys, look, everybody stay safe out there. Be safe out there. And just, I don't know what's going to happen to this world.
Just watch out for each other. The biggest thing that these predators are going to be afraid of is us coming together. That's what we need to really focus on. Let's focus on actually being there for one another, because that's where we've been absolutely failing. So, much love. Stay safe. Let's see if the outro decides to air it out on us this time.
No.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe anywhere you see Bald and Bonkers for even more insanity. Be sure to spread the love to the Bald and Bonkers boys' other endeavors. And a special thank you to our audience, guests, and everyone else who helps make this crazy ride happen. Amazing things are ahead. Learn more by visiting www.baldandbonkers.net. See you next time. Much love and take care.